Sturton, and I'll reflect upon her reign and her life of religious devotion, both in public as Supreme Governor of the Church of England and in private as a faithful Christian. The Lord is my shepherd, a musical rendition of Psalm 23, sung by the choir of Westminster Abbey as Princess Elizabeth was crowned Queen in 1953. It was one of her favourite hymns, describing God as companion and guide through life and through death.
For me, the life of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, is an inspiration and an anchor in my life. A role model of reconciliation and forgiveness, he stretched out his hands in love, acceptance, and healing. Christ's example has taught me to seek to respect and value all people of whatever faith or none.
An excerpt from the Queen's annual Christmas broadcast, this from 2014. As leader of the Roman Catholic Church in England and Wales for much of her reign, Cardinal Vincent Nichols met the Queen on many occasions. He says the sincerity of her faith was unmistakable.
What I saw was certainly a very mature faith, which did not seek to be flamboyant, but just was there at the core of her being. You can tell sometimes when you see a person pray that they're not going through a performance, they're not doing something because they're expected to do it.
What was that? Pure genius. Embarrassing is what that was.
From London. And why was it so important for you to camp out overnight in the rain, to be able to get inside of Westminster Abbey to see the Queen?
It was very important because we wanted to come and show our respects. You know, we totally admire the Queen and everything she's done for the people in the country. So we just felt it was a privilege and an honour to be able to come along and do this. And whatever the weather, we'd have been happy to be all night.
Absolutely. Ladies, you've got a bit longer to wait, but you are amongst the first in the queue that will head over to Lambeth Bridge. I'm just going to come over this way as well and speak to... I've lost him. He's just over here. Thank you, ladies. I'll speak to you later on. To this gentleman here who tells me it's his... Was this going to be your 12th interview so far this morning?
This is my 12th interview this morning.
One of my colleagues did say that the people that are first in the queue are going to be the most vox pop people in the country, but we're here for it because it is a very... it's almost a celebratory mood today in terms of you're all here with one common cause, and that is to celebrate the life of the Queen. It's not actually as much of a sombre atmosphere as many people were anticipating. That may change later, of course.
It will change, yeah, of course it will, yeah. Once we get across the water in 4 or 5 hours' time, it will change drastically, I think, so. And, yeah, be interesting to sort of see how it pans out. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not an emotional person, but I can see myself crying.
No, that's interesting, isn't it? A lot of people are saying that they don't normally get upset about these kind of things, but everyone feels that they knew the Queen personally. What did she mean to you?
Well, she meant a lot, yeah. I mean, I was born in 1957 and, you know, I was brought up with the Queen and she still means a lot to me now, even, you know, even though we've got a king. So yeah, she meant an awful lot. Really did, yeah. It was stability, I think, as much as anything for the whole country, not just me. But she sort of passed on stability and reason to be here, you know. And what I mean, I'm sure the rest of the world is very envious of us right now. So you know, to have the monarchy and the royal family. So. Yeah.
And it meant so much to you that you decided to come and camp overnight. Many people will be joining the queue today. It's expected to stretch some 5 miles. At the moment, from where we are, it goes as far as the eye can see. From the other side of the river, it's quite the sight to see you all queuing. Tell me why it was important for you to be amongst the first, to make sure that you were guaranteed access to see the Queen later.
Well, that's what it was. It wasn't about need to be the first in there, but just to make sure that we would get there and get to see her. And it was really important on a personal note to be able to say a personal thank you and pay my respects and say goodbye in person. I was never lucky enough to meet the Queen or even see the Queen in person when she was alive. So this is an opportunity to pay my personal respects and say thank you. And that's hugely important because, as we all say, she's been the one constant in all of our lives. She's most of us have ever known, the only Queen we've ever known, and good times and bad, she's always been at the helm, so you know you've got that security and everything will be okay because the Queen's there. And you know, like in bad times like COVID, you know, she will say an encouraging message to us, everything will be okay. And I think, yes, it will be. The Queen's there.
We've been speaking to so many people over the course of the last few days, a lot of people who aren't monarchists, who aren't into the royal family, but it is that common theme of the Queen always being there. Perhaps you can talk to us about the people that you've met in the queue and the different reasons, including your own, as to why you wanted to come here to London.
I moved away from, I was born in London and I moved down to the Kent coast, and when things like this happen I have to come back. It's just they say you can take the girl out of the East End, but you can't take the East End out of the girl. And I was born in 1950, so she really has been there forever. I have seen her a couple of times, and the one that really springs to mind is that I was in a traffic jam, and you know when you see somebody, you get bored and you start to look around, and you look around, and I saw this big car by the side of me, and I thought, who's that? I couldn't place them, I really couldn't. And at the point where I'd looked back twice and the penny had dropped, they were actually bending down, going like that. And I mean, that just shows that she wasn't.
So that was the Queen in her state car, stuck in traffic. Who was she with?
With Prince Philip. I think he instigated it and she followed by the looks of it. But, you know, that proves that actually they're real people. And, you know, she gave up such a lot of her time for us. What we've done, I won't say we've had a wonderful time last night because it was just a bit wet.
But you've all been in it together.
Yeah, exactly. And we've all forged quite a big rapport together. And it's not saying that we were mucking about or anything like that, but that's how you get through cold and things.
So you'll be the group that go in together to see the Queen.
But the way last night, the way I put it is that she was still working her magic.
And she very much is today. And thank you so much for talking to us. I'm sure we will talk again.
She even rained over us.
Oh, very good. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. She even rained over us. Well, luckily, it's dried up for you today as you start the final few hours of your wait to get over Lambeth Bridge, just to the other side of the river there, to make their way towards Westminster Abbey, amongst the first to get their wristbands today. And they've explained just why it was so important for them to stay overnight, to make sure that they get the chance to see the Queen. As somebody put it a little earlier on Sky News, the Queen gave us a lifetime of service. What's 24 hours?
A nice way of looking at it, isn't it, Sarah Jane? Thanks very much. Now, at precisely 2:22 this afternoon, the Queen's coffin will be taken in a procession from Buckingham Palace, behind me, to Westminster Hall, where it will lie in state for 4 days. The Queen's coffin will leave in procession, followed by members of the royal family, led by the Queen's 4 children, including the King. To the sound of minute guns, the procession will carry the Queen along the Mall for the last time, before turning right into Horse Guards Parade. With Big Ben tolling every minute, the procession will cross the great ceremonial parade ground, site of Trooping the Colour on the Queen's official birthday each year. Then, turning onto Whitehall, it will travel past some of the great offices of government, Downing Street and the Cenotaph, which commemorates the nation's war dead. Entering Parliament Square, the procession will turn into New Palace Yard in front of the Houses of Parliament, and then into Westminster Hall, where the Queen's coffin will be taken to lie in state for the days before her funeral. The procession will make its way into the oldest part of the Palace of Westminster, led by heralds and then the most senior figures in Parliament, the Palace and the Church of England. The coffin, draped with the royal standard, will be placed on a raised platform, the catafalque, in the middle of Westminster Hall, the King, Queen Consort and other members of the royal family behind. After a short service, led by the Archbishop of Canterbury, the procession party will leave, and members of the Yeomen of the Guard and the Household Division will take up positions around the coffin, forming a vigil that will guard the Queen as she lies in state until her funeral. Well, let's cross now to Sky's Dominic Waghorn, who's at Wellington Barracks in central London, where the military are finalising their preparations ahead of that procession later today. And Dominic, this is something that they have prepared and rehearsed for a really long time.
It is, Jane. Yes, I'm over the Mall from where you are. Wellington Barracks in the front parade ground, empty at the moment, but it will be filling up with troops preparing for that procession, that ceremony later on this morning. As you say, it's a plan that's been evolving, they say here, for years, because it hasn't sort of been stuck in stone. It's kind of had to be changed as events change. So during the pandemic they had to tweak it completely, and since then it's evolved as well. But it's something that the army, the military, have been preparing for years, particularly the Household Division, and that's that division of the army that comprises the regiments like the Grenadier Guards, the Life Guards and other regiments, whose job it has been to protect the Queen and carry out the ceremonial duties at her palaces and the various events through the year. And they've done that, obviously, throughout her reign. So for them, this is hugely important, both professionally and personally. And they are not operating on much sleep. They tell us that as the news was announced of the Queen's death, they were flown in from different parts of the world. They were brought here from across the British Isles, and then they didn't really sleep for 36 hours as they were preparing, getting into place everything they needed for the various events that have happened since then. Some of the soldiers, we were just told, had to sleep on the hay bales that have been brought here for the horses that have then been put in sort of makeshift stables under the car parks of this building. So a massive operation, all sort of culminating for the events this week, particularly today. And for these soldiers whose job it has been to protect the Queen, as I say, it's a very poignant moment and a poignant few hours as they wait for that. There are going to be 800 troops involved in the ceremony, carrying the Queen's coffin from the palace to Westminster Hall, drawn from the various regiments, and the Queen's coffin will be borne, of course, on the gun carriage, the George gun it's called, and that is a gun that's been only used 3 times in the past for the funeral of King George V, of King George VI, and of the Queen Mother. And it's been looked after since then. We were talking a little earlier to the officer whose job it is, the NCO, whose job it is to train the troops, looking after that, but also particularly to look after that hugely important gun in the years waiting for this moment. It's in spotless condition. We're not filming it. It's been the first sight we'll have of it will be as it's used in that procession. And talking to her, she was saying it's going to be very moving for her and fellow soldiers as they see it being used in this procession. And they've been saying here, you know, for them it's hugely important that it happens perfectly, even though they've not been sleeping much. They are determined to make this go ahead without any fault, as a final tribute to the Queen, someone they've been protecting and ceremonially honouring throughout her reign.
Dominic, thanks very much for that. Well, our royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills is here in our studio at Buckingham Palace with me. And Rhiannon, it's a significant moment today, isn't it? Because this is the passing over of the Queen from what has been a really private bit of family time inside the palace to a really very public part of the mourning period.
As we were hearing from Dominic there, the ceremonial will be central. We will see all of the pageantry that accompanied the Queen right throughout her reign. And whenever you speak to those who are involved in the ceremonial events, they always used to talk about how there was no bigger expert than the Queen. She had watched so many of these processions carried out and put into place. And so I think for the military, they will inevitably be wanting to put on the best possible display today. But at the moment, the Queen is still inside Buckingham Palace. Her coffin is in the bow room. And while last night we were all allowed to see that final moment as she arrived at Buckingham Palace, and there were cheers from the crowds, as we would have seen so often during those jubilees or for her 90th birthday, then it was time for the cameras to retreat and leave, and a time for the family to have what was described to me as a small gathering. Some of them won't have seen the coffin until that point. there have been some photographs that have been captured where you can see through the window the likes of the Prince of Wales, the former Prince of Wales, now King Charles, and behind him the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But we weren't invited in for that moment, and I think it was important that they had that family time. And what we are going to see today, in essence, is the Queen. She had 3 key roles, didn't she? She was head of state, head of the nation, head of the family, and today the family will pass her coffin to the nation and allow people to pay the most fulsome tribute as they queue to see her lying in state.
And inside the palace, our understanding is that she was in the bow room, which is a bow-fronted room overlooking the garden. Why do you think that happened?
It's got a beautiful curved window, and it's on the ground floor of Buckingham Palace. And actually, anyone who has been into Buckingham Palace during the summer opening, it's one of the rooms that we're allowed to go and see. In all of the original plans, it seemed that actually her coffin was going to be placed inside the throne room. And for me, it's quite interesting. There seems to have been this shift. The throne room is this enormous cavernous space. It's quite austere. It's where you will have seen all of the state banquets carried out. The bow room looks out onto the garden. And isn't it a lovely image to think that her coffin is there, the curtains open, looking out over the garden, a garden where she hosted so many garden parties. It was the whole point of the change during her reign here at Buckingham Palace. Yes, this is still the office, this is still where the state business would be carried out. But for her and Prince Philip, there was a softening in a way. They wanted to open the doors. And so with things like garden parties, they invited the public in. And of course, she was the one who decided that Buckingham Palace should also be open to the public. But I think there couldn't be a nicer room in many ways for her coffin to be placed overnight, for her family last night to be able to gather there for some short prayers, and then, no doubt, spend some time together talking about what has happened. Well, it seems so quick, doesn't it, over the last few days or so. But also, I suspect this morning, for all of her very loyal staff to be passing through that room and paying their respects to a woman they knew well, a woman whose personal kindness they had seen for themselves, and a woman that they respected very dearly.
And you talk about it being the passing over from the family to the nation, but of course, when the Queen's coffin does move to Westminster Hall and the public are able to file past, there will also be an opportunity for the family to conduct a vigil, as they did in Edinburgh, didn't they? And seeing Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, taking part in that vigil, that was quite an unusual thing for a woman to have taken part in.
It was.
And it will be repeated here at Westminster Hall, we think.
I was reflecting the other day that all of the family members, whether it's the children or the grandchildren, in an interview with Prince William, he said that the very same thing to me. They have had the most fantastic training from the Queen and Prince Philip when it comes to living that life in the spotlight, being involved in ceremony, this military pageantry on a yearly basis. But when we saw the King and his siblings walking shoulder to shoulder behind her coffin through the streets of Edinburgh, you couldn't help but think how much it would have taken to compose themselves, rally themselves for that 45-minute walk, and then later on, their heads bowed around the coffin in St Giles Cathedral, deep in thought, but wanting, I think, and this has been made clear by those who are around the King, yes, he's got all the state business to deal with, and that's important, but actually his primary role at the moment, he believes, is leading his family and leading the nation in this moment of grief. And so last night it was confirmed exactly who's going to be in the procession behind the coffin. So you are going to have, and it has to be said in no particular order, so you're going to have the King, the Duke of York, the Princess Royal and the Earl of Wessex. So I wonder whether they will walk side by side again. Yes, he's the one who's had to take on the most responsibilities, but I think these are siblings united. You're also going to have the Prince of Wales, so Prince William, we're still getting used to that, aren't we? Also alongside him, his brother, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, Peter Phillips, also one of the Queen's grandchildren, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, who is Princess Anne's husband, and also the Earl of Snowdon, who is Princess Margaret's son. And then in cars behind, you're going to have the Queen Consort, the Princess of Wales, so Kate, and then the Countess of Wessex and the Duchess of Sussex. So the family will lead the nation, really, when it comes to that moment of, again, I think, quiet reflection as we see the military pageantry that has surrounded the Queen right throughout her reign, helping to send her for one final moment here from Buckingham Palace to lie in state at Westminster Hall.
OK, Rhiannon, thanks so much. We'll be returning to Rhiannon, of course, throughout the morning and the rest of the day here on Sky. But for now, let's just step away from this story for a little while and look at some other news. And the rate of inflation has eased slightly, meaning it is no longer in double digits. A fall in the price of fuel helped inflation ease to 9.9% in the 12 months to August, and that is a fall from 10.1% in July. Well, our business presenter Ian King joins us live now from the city. Ian, we did have these predictions of inflation going up as high as 18% at one point. Is that going to be tempered now?
No, I don't think so, Jane. I mean, it's worth pointing out that this was very unexpected, this number of 9.9. The city was looking for 10.1%. It's actually the first drop in inflation since September last year, September 2021. It's all down to lower petrol prices, which month on month from July to August fell by an average of 14.3 pence per litre. Annualised inflation for petrol is now running at some 32.1%, down from 43.7% in July. But there are other elements of inflation that are still bearing upward pressure on the index. For example, food inflation, that is running at some 13.1% year on year, up from 12.7% in July. That was down to higher prices of cheese, milk and eggs during the month. And clothing inflation as well. That is up from 6.6% in July to 7.6% in August. Now, you always get a rise in clothing inflation at this time of the year because the autumn ranges come into the shops, replacing summer ranges that have been discounted. But the ONS says that is a factor as well, even though it does say that the figures may have been distorted by what was going on in the shops last year during the pandemic. But there is no reason to think that we've seen a peak yet for inflation. If you look at core inflation in particular, this is something that the economists look at very, very closely. Now, this is a measure of inflation that strips out volatile elements such as food, energy and tobacco, and that actually rose month on month from 6.2% to 6.3%. If you look also at producer price inflation, that is the inflation that is being experienced by producers of goods and services, well, that is running during August at 20.5%, albeit down from 22.6% in July, but nonetheless that gives you an indication of inflation that is coming down the line. And we think, of course, we've got a further price increase in energy coming up in October. Obviously, the energy price cap is being raised. The government has put in place, announced last week by Liz Truss, measures to mitigate that, but we don't really know at this stage the impact that that is going to have on the headline rate of inflation. Most economists here in the city expect that inflation is going to peak in October, probably at around 11%, but maybe slightly higher. None of this in the meantime, Jane, is going to put the Bank of England off from raising interest rates. We were, of course, due to get an interest rate decision tomorrow. It's been postponed until Thursday next week. The expectation is that the Monetary Policy Committee will raise interest rates by 0.5% or even 0.75% on that day. And it's worth pointing out also this is a global phenomenon. We had some sharply higher than expected inflation figures out of the United States yesterday. That really put the cat among the pigeons on Wall Street. You saw all of the main US stock indices falling overnight to an extent that they hadn't on a single session since June 2020. So it's a global phenomenon, this.
OK, Ian, thanks very much.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe. Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products.
That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 07497377647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clements, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out.
He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the
Darkness.
hole of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019,
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is
Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Okay, let me say good morning to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Show. Today is the 14th day of the month of September, the year 2022, with the time now 10:46. And of course, as a Wednesday edition of the Morning Show, you know that is a very quick one because we are always pressed with time when it comes to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Show. But apologies for the late start of the program. The technical team were working to sort out some technical issues there as well. But once again, I want to welcome you all to the program. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Let me say good morning to my team, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, in the house. I say massive good morning to you and welcome once again. Amayo, good morning. Anthony, good morning. Aziz, good morning. Miss Gold, good morning. All you wonderful people across the globe, let me say all protocol observed. Once again, welcome to the program. Playing in the background, something from Pastor Theodora Boachi Ansa, and it says I Will Dwell, featuring Mog. Okay, I'm going to bring you the quote of the day, the weather forecast to follow suit, and the travel updates. Move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. Exactly at 11 o'clock, we're having Olayomi Koiki joining in to bring you updates from Nigeria. Move on from there and then have a quick view of what of the rest of the stories making the rounds across the globe. And here in the UK, as we know, the Queen's body remains. It's lying in the Buckingham Palace. This morning it's going to be in the throne room. And then from there, go through the procession and come to Westminster, where the public will be given the opportunity to also file past while she lies in state. So in Nigeria, that's what is happening. We do our best to bring you all the pictures that you need to see when it comes to everything that's going on there. But once again, let me say a massive good morning and welcome to the show. Okay, the quote of the day says, when you excuse yourself from the pain and discomfort, you indirectly excuse yourself from the benefits of the process. So, to succeed comes with lots of pains there as well. Starr Radio UK. I'm moving on straight to the weather front. Well, we've had a bit of rains and tender activities. This day, during the afternoon, cloud and rain will clear southwards. It will become dry with plenty of sunshine developing. Tonight will be dry with clear spells to start through the course of the night. Thicker cloud will gradually encroach from the north, becoming largely cloudy by dawn. However, it should stay dry. Temperature 22 degrees, lowest 13 degrees. UV level moderate, pollution low. Sunset 1918 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:33 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast. Let me say good morning to Rosita all the way in New Jersey. All right then. Straight on to your travel. Stay tuned. As I said, don't you worry, I'll bring you the rest of that song. I will dwell. Quite a lovely tune there. But for now, let's move on straight to the travels.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, and we'll keep you updated. Wherever your travels might be, whether you are outside the country or wherever, please continue to share your take with us. And I promise you one thing for sure, we're going to share it to our worldwide listeners. It's Bishop Adesina. Good morning to you, sir. God richly bless you. Okay. Now, on the travel this morning, the Northern Line, Piccadilly Line have all got minor delays due to minor delays on the entire line while they fix a track fault at Morden. Tickets will be accepted on London buses and trams as well, Southeastern and Thames Link trains as well. On the Piccadilly line as well, minor delays between Acton Town and Rayners Lane due to train cancellations. Good service on the rest of the line. On the other side, all the other underground lines have got good service. London Overground, good service. DLR, good service. But when it comes to the London Tramlink, there are minor delays once again. Minor delays due to a shortage of trams. Now straight to the major routes in London. On the major routes in London, A4, Central London Red Routes and South Circular 805 has got serious delays there, which have brought about some because of some closures, so check before you leave. Now, on the riverbank this morning, the Woolwich area has got special service. The other side, all the others have got good service. Shortly, the London cable car has got good service there. To the final segment of the travel update, that's the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, Avanti West Coast has got reduced timetable and service disruption. Cross-country minor delays there. And then we move on. Great Northern has got minor delays as well. Great Anglia minor delays. London North Western Railway minor delays. London Overground, I did say that one earlier on, minor delays. On some routes there as well. Northern Rail as well, minor delays on some routes. Southwestern Railway, minor delays. Continue to keep your eyes on the road. Southern has also got minor delays. Thameslink, minor delays. And then First Trans-Pennine Express has got amended timetable, bringing about some disruption in service. That aside, all the others have got good service. So once again, let me say it as I do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
This is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 7 minutes or 6 minutes to the top of the hour. It is now time for Global Trotting. So let's crack on. Let me tell you what is happening across the globe. Now, APC group raises the alarm over mass defection and social media on fire on Americans called Festus Keyamo Mr. Mugu. Okay, we'll be looking at that. Is Festus Keyamo Mugu? Okay. Former APC aspirants send strong message to Tinubu, and the Imo residents sit at home as Buhari visits the state. Why are Imo residents sitting at home? Is it for security purposes, or they decided to sit at home? This is a lot we're going to bring you from Nigeria. Okay, moving on to other parts of the world as well. On the African continent. Okay, just bear with me whilst I try to get that. Protesters return to streets of Khartoum. Some of the stories making the rounds there. Laquan Smith embrace color and texture for spring, summer. There are some of the stories making the rounds on the African continent. And then moving on straight to some other stories in Ghana. In Ghana, the Apiace reconstruction has taken off. All SIM cards are blockade. Minority PPP urge the what do you call them? The regulator who seems to be doing saying that people have not registered and therefore they've annulled or they blocked their SIM cards. Okay, and then Aisha Wang was repatriated in 2018. Upon Nkrumah says it looks like the president was saying he wasn't sure whether the lady was repatriated at all. But well, Upon Nkrumah has come to clarify. But as whether we have to take it with a pinch of salt is another thing. But Aisha Wang is to appear before court today. And Mahama received 250,000 Ghana cedis as ex gratia. That's what Baba Mokhtari is saying, because Mahama, the former president, is saying that looks like the MPP government, the Kufuor-led government, are not or have not been giving him what his remuneration, let me put it that way, as an ex-president. Well, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now, moving on straight here, because, you know, it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show that finishes exactly at 12 o'clock. Therefore, we are always pressed with time on days like that. Now, Ukraine targets East after rapid counter-offensive. Kyiv troops are targeting towns in the Donbas region, the main focus of Russia's invasion. Well, how is going to happen there? Accounts of Russian torture emerge in liberated Ukraine. Some people are talking about that. Xi and Putin to discuss Ukraine war at a meeting. The Chinese and Russian leaders are due to meet at major summit in Uzbekistan this week. What do you think is going to come out from there? EU, my apologies, EU chief set out plans to tackle energy crisis. Now, Ursula von der Leyen has called for EU-wide cuts to electricity use and windfall taxes on energy companies. But here in the UK, well, the Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister, who she just landed into office and then has the Queen passing on, and then now having a new King that and she's been running around like a headless chicken. Let me put it that way. But we've not though on the day that they were delivering, or she was the one delivering the 100 billion support for energy and to alleviate people from getting to poverty and everything that's going on pertaining to the energy crisis and everything. Then Bush, the announcement of the Queen's demise came to her. So everything has gone that way. But as to whether now that we seem to be seeing the end of what is going to happen, so come Monday everything will be over. What are people going to say? I know that there are some organizations who were supposed to have been on strike, but because of the honoring the Queen, they decided no, we have to just continue. We have to come back to work and make sure after the Queen's funeral, then they'll go back to it. So we'll see what happens on there. Now, Clarence House staff are told jobs are at risk. Redundancies are unavoidable following King Charles III's accession, a spokesman has said. So what do you do if that's what you've done all this while? You've worked at Clarence House all this while, and then suddenly that is no more there. And I don't know whether the new Prince of Wales or Prince William is going to move into Clarence House as he is moving into Buckingham Palace, or So what is going to happen there? We'll be looking into that as the days and the times unfold. Okay, but queues are building ahead of the Queen's lying in state. Procession will take Queen's coffin from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall later, where hundreds of thousands are expected to file past. Well, these are some of the stories making the rounds. We're going to take a quick break. We come back and we continue with the show. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. Enjoy this song this time around uninterrupted.
Here at your feet, I will dwell. Here in your glory, I will dwell under your wings. Lord, you are my only Lord.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
I
will dwell. As the good book says, he that dwells under the shadow of the Almighty shall abide in the secret place of the Most High God. So he said, I will dwell. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Whilst we go on with the show, story that is making the rounds. Some of the headlines whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi going to join in. Atiku Okowa should cover their faces. A shame. That's what Shitu is saying. Scam have Storm court over legality of PDP presidential primaries. That ship has already bolted. So what are they trying to do there? Some breaking news coming through. Anambra lawmaker slams and dies in a hotel. And some breaking news again. Coalition fingering Keyamo, saying that, well, there are plans to assassinate Peter Obi. And I was saying the other time, is Peter Obi the hope for Nigerians now? What do you think? Okay, let's take a quick break and I'll come back to you.
Ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi there! Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Okay, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time exactly to 9 minutes past the top of the hour, the Wednesday edition of the morning show. And it's my singular honor to say welcome to the White Lion. Yomi, good morning.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning, Frank. Good morning to all our presenters. And good morning to all other listeners on Star Radio UK. And like I always say, we also have about 7 different channels that is plugged in from this end that is also listening to us this morning, the 14th of September 2022 at 9 minutes past 11. And I come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, the Wednesday edition of the morning show. And we want to tell you, just share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Okay, because it's a Wednesday edition and we are pressed with time already, let's crack on. Now, some of the stories that is making the rounds pertaining to the planned assassination of Peter Obi. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen that story, but a quick one on that before I allow you to bring the other stories that you want to put across. What is that about? Is there a plot to assassinate Peter Obi?
Well, we did talk about it slightly yesterday,
yeah.
As we know that Peter Obi was attacked, over the weekend on his way back into the country. But it seems, the other political party believes it's just a fake assassination attempt. And this is coming from, Festus Keyamo. Festus Keyamo, as we know, is the director and the media and public affairs spokesman for the All Progressive Congress campaign, APC. I'm not sure why he believes that Peter Obi is actually staging manage a fake assassination attempt. Also, ignore purported attack on Peter Obi aide, Obiyama. So there's a lot of these messages coming out from Nigeria, Abuja precisely. Also, Peter Obi was not attacked in Abuja, Hill and LD, according to the aide. So it's quite a lot of mixed mark. But according to the media aide to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, Comrade Valentina Obiyama has debunked the rumor making around that his boss was attacked in Abuja. Obiya, in a statement, urged the public to ignore the rumor, describe it as falsehood. He said Peter Obi is hale and healthy.
Okay. At least we have that clarity there, knowing that Peter Obi is okay. So, well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. As I say all the time, if it's making the rounds, we find it, we bring it to the fore. Although today, a quick talk to you as well. I hope you are all doing very well. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages. But it is a Wednesday edition of the morning show. Miss Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios, and we are looking at updates from Nigeria. Yes. What are some of the stories making the rounds this morning, sir?
Let's come from London with a very sad news of one of our brother, a DJ, precisely known very well within the Nigerian community in the United Kingdom. He's actually living in Liverpool. It was only last night that the news filtered to me as well. But this morning the news is already out there more. I've actually come off the phone from one of our friends as well that lives in Liverpool just to get a bit of background. He actually sent 2 or 3 messages from his mobile phone to his children goodbye. One of them challenged him and he actually deleted the message. The wife was sent on errand by the same young man, and eventually the wife came back to find the dead body inside the house. So he has actually committed a suicide. While trying to find out a little bit, suicide is one of the most difficult things, but there will be signal if the signal was there. He actually told someone, he felt suicidal, but it seems the person did not take it a little bit further, from the conversation that I had, this morning from Liverpool. We can only pray for the family that he has left, 4 children precisely. And again, the question again is, how do we deal with these issues? It's not just happening in Nigeria. It also happens right here in a civilized society that also have every mechanism to look after and treat such a situation. But like I said, the wife met the body right inside the house in Liverpool, and I can only say there's been a lot of different messages, and I'm sure those that knows him within the Nigerian community. He's a very good DJ, and like I said, he's also a very good friend of mine as well. So again, that is one of the sad news that we're starting with this morning. I'm not sure whether you want to
just a quick, let's just comment a bit there. I mean, to Moyiwa, good morning to you. But I think in this community, when you see your neighbor or somebody close to you complaining or making references or inferences like that, I think as maybe whether a friend, a family, or whatever, you have to make sure that you lead the person to get a bit of help, because what happens is because of the stigma that we in our communities attach to things like that. If the moment somebody has maybe a mental health mental instability, we just say that they are mad. You see, so we seem to be, people are going through such difficult and challenging times, and we seem to be, covering it, and this gentleman wouldn't have taken his life. So that man, whoever he spoke to, saying that he thinks that he's having a mental challenge, had come, or is feeling suicidal, had come through to actually, report, and the necessary help has been given. But we say that may his soul rest in perfect peace, and to the family, what a distraught family. I don't know what they're going to do now, but somehow, our thoughts are with them as well. But Moyiwa says, good morning, my brothers. How are you doing? We are all doing very well. Moyiwa, we hope that you are doing very, very well as well. But let me go back to Yomi. Yomi, over to you.
Well, while we are dealing with that, just again yesterday, not a very good news as well as we're starting, this headline, because when we have a lot of Nigerians that are doing very well, and when I mean extremely very well, a classmate of mine, also passed on Sunday. We won't be able to mention the name, for reasons that we will keep that. But it died on Sunday. I was only just told again last night as we were running, the Diaspora Mega Rally, United Nations, that we might talk about later on Niger Voices this evening, which is going to be our focus point as for those that are campaigning. I was told it was a slip accident that happened in a swimming pool where he worked as one of the petroleum engineer in Saudi Arabia. From what I've heard, the wife is already en route to Saudi Arabia. We pray for the family and the loved ones, and also all those that are from that particular school, which is Abeokuta Grammar School, is an absorber. He died as well on Sunday. So we're just going to go straight now to some of the other headlines, and those also that are going through all sort of difficulties wherever you are across the globe. Especially, it's a very tough time when you lose those that are very close to you. Atiku and Okowa as rubbish APC over Muslim ticket. Yesterday we talked about the governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, pleading with the Christian Association, to accept, the APC that will be going into an election that is, going to have APC ticket. Tinubu is a Muslim, and likewise, Shetima is also a Muslim as well. That is also still creating quite a lot, on the social media. And I think if I go back a little bit, I could pick up quite a lot of bashing. But let me look at what Reno says. Reno Mokere is a supporter of Atiku. He hasn't eyed that as well, and he was also part of the media towards the Jonathan era. So you could tell when I read this out. This is what he actually said some 16 hours ago. Nigeria is ranked number 7 on the World Watch list of 50 of the most dangerous countries for Christians to live. Bola Tinubu, the APC, wants to take us to the number 1 with his Muslim. Tinubu is pushing Nigeria over the edge, and unbalanced ticket can end Nigeria. Well, we will have to wait and see that will end. But it looks like Atiku also is coming out this morning to say Okowa and Atiku as rubbish APC over Muslim ticket. Then let's take a look at Soludo for stealing factional monarchy powers. Groups loud. What could be the reason why a sitting governor is now being put out in this. According to the social political group Igbo Youth for Positive Change, has commended the Anambra State government and the security agency for their role in sealing off the palace of Igwe Austin Indigwe in Akwa. The group said the action showed that the era of impunity and all forms of lawlessness were over in Anambra. The police have actually invaded the palace of Igwe Indigwe Aqua while some of his guests were seated during a New Yam Festival celebration, seal up the place on Saturday. The question then goes back to, this is why, the question is, who gave the British audacity to merge us together? Because during those era, we had a kingdom, whether the Igbo kingdom, the Arewa kingdom, and the Yoruba kingdom, and the kingdom was being operated without this, political democracy that has now been enforced on the individual indigenous, community. And now the politicians do have a more say than the current traditional rulers that we have across the country. Because of the time, I'm just going to go straight on again. Buhari, APC have kept promise of relegating Nigeria. That is Governor Autumn. I actually had the opportunity, we couldn't discuss this yesterday. I had a short 20-minute interview with him, on Friday evening at a very short notice. And we had a lengthy conversation on the insecurity of Nigeria, and he said quite a lot. The Benue State Governor Samuel Autumn has indicate the President General Muhammadu Buhari and his ruling All Progressive Congress for keeping their promises of relegating the country in their manifesto to Nigerians. In a statement that was signed by the Governor Chief Press Secretary Nathaniel, Autumn said, as a people, Nigerians need to have a viable alternative to the current crop of leaders among the ruling party. Autumn noted that the APC will lose the 2020 election. The party had performed very worst in the past 7 years since it took over power from the PDP. Well, again, we will have to wait and see whether there will be election in the next 149 days. Also, these 2 weeks that is around the corner, starting from the yesterday, we know that the 77th United Nations General Secretary will be going ahead, and that means the Yorubas are having quite a lot of activities that will be going on, at the ground of the United Nations in terms of, the engagement and discussion when it comes to the recognition. So there will be a million march that will be going ahead between the next 2 weeks in New York City, and this has been put together by the Yoruba Nation Diaspora Mega Rally US, where we had a conversation with them yesterday. Their leader, Prophet Ayodele Ologbolua. They talked about his visit to Benin Republic. Last month, he actually returned back this month. He was able to see, the leader of the Yoruba movement, Professor Banji Akintoye. He met with Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. I did ask him a lot of questions, during that interview with him yesterday and some of their colleagues. And what he kept on saying is, the Yoruba is a country that has been in existence, before the British amalgamation, and the recognition is what the representative of Nigeria and under the United Nations should be discussing during this 77. So last year we saw that the Nigerian government literally also paid some individuals, put on a Nigerian outfit, and came out to say there's nothing wrong in Nigeria, everything is just working, but only for us to find out that $50 and $100 was actually paid, to these individuals. So this time around, we don't know what kind of what Nigerian government will be putting out there, to challenge those that are requesting that the United Nations should use this 77th General Assembly to look into the issue of Nigeria as a whole. I'm going to take one more, come back straight to you at exactly 11:22. Both accidents have actually claimed 5 lives in Bauchi, according to the lawmaker. No fewer than 5 people were killed when the boat that were capsized at the river in Jamara town, in Jamara local government area of Bauchi State, as a result of the heavy rain and the windstorm. May the soul rest in peace for those that have died. I'll come back now to you on the in the studio, Mr. Archie. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, at Wednesday, where we have a very short limited time, because of the PMQ at exactly 12 p.m.
Yes, listen, it's Mr. Olayomi here in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. I've got a few comments that I need to read out, but if you've missed out anything, don't worry. This evening is going to be happening live on the Niger Voices, which we'll be talking about in a moment. But Adebambo, yes, Anthony Paul, yes. Good morning, Mr. Koiki. Well done for a good job you are doing. Then Prince Oji says Buhari used Yoruba land of Lekki Axis to build deep seaport for his originated home called Niger. Now Fulani agenda is real. Okay, Bishop Adesina says, why are young generation that are supposed to enjoy their life at peak dying, but the older ones that put the nation in problem are living fat and stretched? The tide is turning now. Time has come to change. And what change are we looking for? As we've said, the Yoruba nation, yes, people are thinking we need to live. We have the Igbos thinking we got to live as well. But let's come to a quick point. We were talking about the UN General Assembly meeting that's going to be taking place, and the fact that they're going to be championing some statements are going to be made on that front. Professor Akintoye did write a letter to the president. What has happened to that letter?
Well, and that's behind there is that some of the the flyer that has been put out there, the diaspora mega rally that is coming up. Yes, the letter still have up to 16 more days precisely, because that will be the end of the month before we can get a feedback. But from what I heard from Prophet Olugunloa, that the president have actually acknowledged that letter, and that means whether they will now work on the peaceful request by the Yoruba self-determination movement, where we have about 200 different groups that have written that letter and sent on behalf of them, Professor Banja Akintoye, to the presidency, requesting that they have a peaceful dialogue, and negotiation on how Nigeria, would, how the Yoruba would eventually dissolve out of Nigeria without any problems. I did ask him, the expectation, on the outcome of these, United Nations General Assembly, and he did say that, it is going to be the last, because we're not going to be going back there again next year when it comes to, this rally that goes on. He talked about countries that he has traveled through across as a student in Singapore, in 1998, when he school there. He talked about Fiji Island, he talked about, King Solomon Island, he talked about, other African countries, and he says that Ekiti State today is about 3.3 million population, and that is much more bigger in a country of its own than so many countries that he has visited. And the question then is, the mega rally that we're also expecting in Nigeria, according to him, will be led by Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho at the appropriate time when the date will be announced.
Okay, interesting there. I'll come to you. There's one other point that I wanted to bring across, but Miss Gold, you said you were late. Thank you for joining us as well. Adebambo, feel free. Yeah, we want to ask a question. Feel free, put your question there. We will answer it if we have the information. Yeah, so feel free to do so. It is Starr Radio UK. But Yomi, now we know that Nigeria is practicing some form of democracy, right? Now, when it comes to this part of the world, we know that there is a number of signatories pertaining to any situation, number of signatories that you can collate, and once you have that number of signatories, the parliament has to sit and maybe they need to listen to a petition that you are putting across. Has Nigeria got anything of the sort in its constitution?
No. Nigeria, as it is, do not have such at the moment. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Nigeria do not have such at present, but what we do know is that the African Union and likewise, as much as the 1999 Constitution is a very, very crafty way that has been crafted in a way not to give room to such a breakup out of Nigeria. But also we've seen that the argument has been in the court in Nigeria that some of the judges have said you do have right to self-determination. So that literally means that if you don't want to be part of the country, it is literally something that we should look into. I was actually and I'm going to be talking about that later on. There is a particular activist known as Aisha Yusuf, and she posted something on her Twitter handle that if this country is not going to work for every one of us, it is high time that we just allow ourselves to go our separate ways. But she still believes of the view that it is because we shouldn't blame, the colonials, according to her, is the message. And I'm going to be playing that later on at 1800 hours during the Niger Voices. And that for me is something that will be a lot of challenges, because when people say we should just not worry about what happened in the past, we should just move on to what should have been done in 1960 when we had all these resources, and yet Nigeria still remain the capital poverty of the world.
Well, listeners, if you are listening to us, what do you think is the way forward? Because when it comes to the Senate, or what's the other chamber that you have in Nigeria?
The House of Representatives. The
House of Representatives. I don't know whether the North has got majority in there. If they have, then for sure you know that they're not going to.
Yes, from the way things are, the North has the upper edge as against the remaining the South and the Southwest and the Southeast when it comes to the numbers of our representative inside the Senate. So you will not get anything out of it because they have the majority.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, and that's what I said to Chief Sunday Igboho when I spoke to him the other time. So it's going to be difficult, but I mean, when the tough times come, the tough guys keeps on going, and then so we have to still continue with the course. If you believe in it, you have to stand for it and fight for it. It is Starr Radio UK 11:30. Let me go back to Yomi. What are we looking at in a whole at the Niger Voices today?
Well, the focus was meant to have been more on the mega rally that is going up in New York from yesterday, and it's going to be lasting for 2 weeks. So we might have maybe a guest that will join us. I will be letting the studio know later on. But we will also be talking about the man, our brother, our uncle that died suicide in Liverpool. Who do you talk to when you are depressed?
Mental health.
What do we need to do? Again, because these are just something that is just coming up. We'll try to see if we can get an expert within the Nigerian community right here in the United Kingdom that can speak to us. So that, and then who should you also speak to within the community? We do have the Central Association of Nigeria in UK. I was able to meet up with the chairman 2 weeks ago, Saturday, during the Lagos State union that they had on the island. And we hope that we will see such a very sad situation again within the community, and especially also we do also have the Yorubas that also have their own setup at the moment where you can walk in, and this has been put together by Dr. Okebiorunkosi, where just as the Asians, everybody have their own community that you can talk to. We hope if you're depressed, you alert somebody, or somebody alerts somebody, so that we can find a solution, so that we do not see such happening within our community again.
All right. Yomi, before you go.
Well, Archie will still be here. I was actually watching, the motorcade of the Queen coming back, the late Queen yesterday. And I'm sure Archie, will be discussing more about that until 12 p.m. when they'll be crossing over to the PMQ. It's a very busy week in UK, so if you're moving around, please, do understand that there will be a lot of activities, especially for those that are probably not familiar, with the way things are being choreography right here in UK, especially with these very important incident that has happened almost last week here in UK. So I'll be back again later on at 1800 hours, which is just 6 p.m. for those of you that probably would like to listen to Niger Voices. And I say to you, Mr. Archie, I'll see you later on. Have a very good afternoon. Bye for now.
Good afternoon. All right then. Yes, listeners, it is Starr Radio. It's a good morning. Yomi, he misled me. Well, it is still morning. Yes. But this evening, exactly at 18 hours, he's going to be coming your way with the Niger Voices. So make a date with him. Well, we have ample time there. 2.5 hours ongoing. Looking at all the stories that you need to know. The mega rally that took place in the U.S. and mental health. That mean, it's difficult because you look at the stigma that we attach to anything of this sort. And then when there are, I mean, some people are suffering from mental health, we think that, he has to man up, or yeah, or they've got, I mean, that person is too weak and stuff like that. But people are losing their lives. We'll be looking more into that in a moment. But for now, let's take a quick break. And once we come back, I'll bring you the rest of the stories making the rounds. As you know, the Wednesday edition of the morning show, Press with Time. But hey, I promise you one thing for sure. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Okay, welcome back to the program. Adeyemo Ademola Jami. It's a Yoruba Nation. No going back. Of course, no going back. I said, if you believe in the cause, you stand for it, you fight for it, you do everything for it. You might die for it, but you believe in that cause, and therefore you don't give up or give in. Okay? Well, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll bring the time now to 11:36. So we've got about 24 minutes to bring the program, the first part of the program, to a close, where I'll be taking you to a couple of places, a Northern Ireland Assembly, where they are also sitting, and I will bring you a sneak view of what is happening here in London today. As Yomi said, the Queen returned to London yesterday. Remains was returned to London yesterday night. And you look at the people who were standing in the rain, I mean, paying their respects. I mean, it was a wonderful scene. It was a wonderful scene. Well, we'll try to follow what is going to be happening today, but we know the climax is on Monday when the funeral is going to be taking place, and we're following it all the way through. Yes, people are queuing to go watch or see, pay their respect to the Queen laid in state from, is it from 5 p.m. or 2 p.m.? Whichever. No, from 5 p.m. when the public will be allowed to. But the body will be moved from Buckingham Palace at exactly 2:38. 2:38. Okay, because it takes 22 minutes from that from Buckingham Palace right down to Westminster, where she's going to be laid in state. So they calculated everything, the pace and everything, to get them there exactly at 3 o'clock. All right today. Yes, saluting Miss Good there. Okay. Now let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world, and then let's bring the first part of the program to a close. Now, minority are threatening class action despite NCA's withdrawal of SIM blocking directives. So what do they want again? They threatened them. They came out to say, yes, we're going to see to that, but now a lot more coming. The minority in parliament has said the class action against the National Communications Authority will continue despite the withdrawal of the SIM blocking directive by the NCA. The NCA has withdrawn its directive to telcos for blocking of unregistered SIM cards, which affected even some registered subscribers. The deputy ranking member of the Communications Committee, Sam George, told journalists in Parliament that even in the period that SIM cards were blocked last week, the SIM suffered damages, and those damages are what we are seeking to claim for on behalf of our constituents using a class action suit. So we'll still proceed irrespective of what they've done. For his part, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu asked President Akufo-Addo to call the Communications Minister and the NCA to order in respect of the development. The Tamale South MP further demanded answers on the self-registration app deployed by the ministry for the exercise at a 5 cedi fee. According to him, such charges are illegal. Now, we know Ghana, they always want to deploy some software to use, but it doesn't work properly, you know. The next moment is all over the place. But what do you think about all that? We're going to bring you more details as the days and the week unfold. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, the EC has denied being hostile to the opposition party. The Electoral Commission of Ghana has refuted allegations of hostility towards the opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC. The NDC and EC have been at loggerheads before and after the 2020 election. Now, former President John Mahama recently reported a commission to the U.S. ambassador to Ghana over what he terms a hostile posture towards the NDC. But speaking this morning, Director of Electoral Services for the EC, Dr. Starr argued that the commission has always reached out to the leadership of the NDC. According to him, even though the NDC claims to have boycotted IPAC meetings, it always signs minutes of such meetings. Dr. Kwaku further revealed the party is already collaborating with its outfit for the implementation of the controversial CI for continuous registration exercise with only the Ghana card. Yesterday, my colleague, Mr. Frank Davis, was saying that, well, when it comes to the EC boss, he doesn't think that we have to believe anything that she says. Now, meanwhile, the commission has justified the decision to use only Ghana cards for the exercise. According to Dr. Srebo, the National Identification Authority has assured prospective voters that they will be issued their Ghana cards before the 2024. We come out with our modalities and meet the political parties to discuss it. So whenever they come with issues, it will enhance our modalities. We do listen to them. We wait for the political parties, including the NDC, to bring their modalities. So after the CI has been passed, the committee will meet and discuss the details. All right, then. So that is some of the stories making the rounds in Ghana. All right. Okay. One other story from the former president pertaining to his ex gratia. Your release of confidential document has failed to discredit Mahama Bawa Mokhtari to the government. Aide to former President John Mahama, George Bawa Mokhtari, has says documents released into the public domain just to discredit former President John Mahama has failed. Now, speaking this morning, Madam Mokhtari described the latest publication on the former president as a propaganda and lies. According to her, she is yet to receive any evidence that former President Mahama received all those monies in 2013 as alleged. I am surprised that in all of these conversation and discourse, I am yet to see any response to whether or not President Mahama received either of these figures. Now, this is a question of fact and not law, and I believe that the office of the Chief of Staff has been able to release into the public domain very private documents and confidential documents without prejudice to the outcome. The releases have failed in its bid to discredit him, Madam Mokhtari stated. The office of the former President John Mahama has described as falsehood claims made by Bono regional chairman of the MPP, Kwame Bafo, aka Abronye, that he, Mahama, took home the fattest ex gratia amounting to 14 million Ghana cedis in 2013. Earlier, a press statement issued from the office of the former president and signed by George Bawa Mokhtari, special aide to John Dramani Mahama, said the former leader never took such ex gratia payment of 40 million in 2013 at any other time during his 25 years of public service. Meanwhile, former President John Mahama has accused the Akufo-Addo-led administration of refusing to give him his entitlement as the former leader of the country. So why are they refusing to give that to him? The Constitution makes provision for that. And as of course, we want to say that the country is so broke that, what is due former president, we cannot give them. It's in the Constitution. Well, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Let me bring you one social announcement and then we'll move on to other parts of the world as well. Well, this program is supposed to take place on Saturday. The personal finance, financial planning and wealth creation for women is hosted by Pastor Annette Hercules. The guest speaker is going to be Pastor, Mr. Niyi Morele. Okay, now they'll be looking at understanding investment principles, making provision for the next generation, protecting yourself and your family, and also planning for retirement days. The date is Saturday the 17th of September 2022, the time 1 p.m. The venue, Fulham United Reformed Church, 472 to 480 Fulham Palace Road, London, SW6 6HY. And the quote underneath it: she is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instruction with kindness. Proverbs 31, 25 to 26. Now, if you want to get in touch with them, email women-to-women@gmail.com. Email that number, women-to-women@gmail.com. Or contact phone number 078-08-807-151. 078-08-807-151. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So let's take a quick break and I bring you the rest of the stories making the rounds this morning.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 12 minutes to the top of the hour at the time, the morning show. All right, now let's quickly look at some of the other stories making the rounds, and then we can bring this part of the program to a close. All right. So, on the African continent, Okay. Yes. The thousands of Sudanese protesters took to the streets of the capital Khartoum on Tuesday to press demands for a return to civilian rule following a military coup last year. Now, many carried posters criticizing the military. Others showed pictures of some of the 116 people that pro-democracy medics say have already been killed in the previous crackdown on anti-coup protesters. A solution can only be reached by achieving our demands will keep on protesting. There isn't a time frame, for the revolution. Once you fulfill our demands, the demonstration will stop, affirmed protester Tariq Othman. Now, Sudan has been rocked by waves of demonstrations since the armed forces, led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, grabbed power in October. In July, Burhan pledged in a televised address to step aside and make way for Sudanese factions to agree on a civilian government. The civilian leaders dismissed the move as a ruse. In June, the UN said a record 15 million people in Sudan, around 1/3 of the population, were facing acute food insecurity and warned the situation was likely to get worse. And of course, I know that now it is worse because of the Russian situation, Russia-Ukraine war that seems to be going on. But it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, just bear with me. Let me take a quick break and I'll be with you. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Well, I sincerely apologize for that. There was somebody who came into the premises that I needed to attend to. Okay. Well, my producer had stepped out. All right, then. Now we've got 9 minutes, so let's crack on quickly. Moving on to other parts of the world. We'll touch on one story that is making the rounds here in the UK, and that's the Queen being moved from Buckingham Palace right down through the Mall to the Westminster Abbey as well. Yes. So the House of Parliament, where she's going to be late. So just bear with us. Whilst we go on with that. Now, Ukraine targets East after rapid counter-offensive. So what is going to happen there? But interestingly, okay, and then one other story. A sailor who was killed at Pearl Harbor, buried after 80 years, Herbert Jacobson, was laid to rest after modern forensic testing allowed his remains to be identified. What about the others there as well? But kudos to them. Now, Russia is covertly spent 300 million to meddle abroad. That's what the US is saying. It's quite an interesting peace. And we know that the US, all these countries do so. They find ways and means to meddle in affairs of other countries. But Russia has covertly spent more than $300 million since 2014 to influence politicians in more than 24 countries. The US has alleged. The Department of State allegation is based on declassified US intelligence assessment released on Tuesday. A senior official from President Joe Biden's administration said, "We think this is just the tip of the iceberg." Now, Russia has not publicly commented on the issue. Moscow itself has repeatedly accused the US of meddling abroad. American intelligence assesses that there are minimum figures that Russia likely has transferred additional funds covertly in cases that have gone undetected, said the Biden administration official during a mobile phone briefing. The official was speaking on a condition of anonymity. The U.S. intelligence assessment released in the cable did not name specific countries or special believed to have been targeted by Russia, but said they span 4 continents. So is Africa involved? All right then. We're going to be bringing the first part of the program to a close in a moment. But hey, so on Russia, now Xi Jinping and Putin to discuss Ukraine war at a meeting in Kremlin. At a meeting, that's what Kremlin is saying. The Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Russia Vladimir Putin will discuss the war in Ukraine and other international and regional topics at their meeting later this week, the Kremlin has said. The two will meet in Uzbekistan at a summit that will show an alternative to the Western world, the Kremlin has said. Now, Mr. Xi is making his first trip overseas since the start of the pandemic. He is seeking a historic third term while Mr. Putin's relations with the West are at rock bottom over Ukraine. Mr. Xi is beginning his 3-day trip to Kazakhstan, where he landed in the capital Nur-Sultan for the first leg of his trip on Wednesday. He will then meet Mr. Putin on Thursday at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO summit in Samarkand, which will run from 15th to 16th of September. And Mr. Putin will also meet the leaders, including those of India, Pakistan, Turkey, and Iran. But his meeting with China's leader is of a particular importance, said Kremlin foreign policy spokesman Yuri Yushakov. Now, he said the summit was taking place against the backdrop of large-scale political changes. Now, China and Russia have long sought to position the SCO, founded in 2001 with 4 ex-Soviet Central Asian nations, as an alternative to the Western multilateral groups. Well, so what do you think is going to happen there? Well, they have their own bloc. Yes, are we not having the Cold War once again? Well. Lots more going to be coming your way, but it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Some information that came my way. Okay. Now, Russia Council is facing dissolution after calls for Putin's removal. Now, I'm not sure what that is. A group of St. Petersburg local politicians who called for President Vladimir Putin to be sacked over the war in Ukraine faces likely dissolution of their district councils following a judge ruling on Tuesday. One of the deputies said, Nikita Yeferev, said the judge decided that a series of past council meetings had been invalid, paving the way for it to be broken up by the regional governor. Another council member, Dmitry Palyuga, said that the same court then fined him 47,000 rubles, that is $780, for discrediting the authorities by calling for Mr. Putin's removal. Court officials could not be reached by telephone for comment. Now, 4 more members of the Smolenskoye local council are due to appear in court in the next 2 days. Now, last week, a group of deputies from the council appealed to the State Duma to bring charges of state treason against Putin and strip him of power, citing a series of reasons, including Russia's military losses in Ukraine and the damage to its economy from the Western sanctions. But he says, look at me. You people are suffering. We are kind of cool. Now, what do you think of there? Yeah, it's all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The final story, and then we bring the program to close, the first part of the program to a close. And this pertains to what is happening here in London today. Well, for information, the BBC will be streaming the Queen Elizabeth line in state. So the global streaming is for those wanting to pay their respect but are unable to travel to London. And Starr Radio UK will try to pipe that through to you as well. And then Clarence House staff told jobs are at risk. Redundancies are unavoidable following King Charles III's accession, a spokesperson have said there. And that they were working to find alternative roles for employees, a spokesman said. The Guardian reported that the private secretaries, the finance office, the communications team, and household staff were among those who had been warned of redundancies as the offices of King Charles III and the Queen Consort moved to Buckingham Palace. The King's top aide, his principal private secretary, Sir Clive Alderton, said in the letter to staff that the change in role for the former Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall meant that Clarence House will be closed down. He said the former Prince of Wales' personal interests and former activities will no longer be carried out. It is therefore expected that the need for the posts, principally based at the Clarence House, whose work supports these areas, will no longer be needed. Now, staff were left livid and shaken by the announcement, the newspaper said. The Clarence House spokesman said, following last week's accession, the operation of the household of the former Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall have ceased, and as required by law, a consultation process has begun. So what happens to them? If you're staff there, what are you thinking? What do you think? It's Starr Radio UK, the final story, and they will bring the program to a close. Here in London, large queues are forming along Albert Embankment as people wait for the Queen's lying in state to begin. Her coffin remains at Buckingham Palace ahead of procession to Westminster Hall later. Now, Princess Williams and Harry, along with King Charles III, will walk behind the coffin as it is carried on a gun carriage. Now, during the procession, guns will be fired at Hyde Park and Big Ben will toll. Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to file past the coffin to pay their respects with a huge policing operation in place. The Queen's funeral will be held on Monday, 19th of September, a bank holiday. On that note, let me say thank you very much for joining us once again on this live program. But I'm going to cross over to see what is happening there that we can bring your way as well. But remember, this evening exactly at tick-tack, 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 tick, exactly at 6 o'clock, that is 18 hours BST, Olayomi Koiki will be bringing your way once again the Niger Voices. So make a date with him. On that note, I say have a top of the day, and to all of you who are on the various social media platforms, wherever you might be, bless you all, and bye-bye for now. I remain yours sincerely, Archie.
This afternoon. At 2:22, the Queen's children and 3 of her grandchildren will walk behind her on the journey towards Her Majesty's lying in state. Queues build in the capital as people prepare to wait more than 24 hours to pay their respects. Queen Elizabeth's coffin remains at the palace where it returned from Edinburgh last night.
It will head to Westminster Hall, and just across from Westminster on the other side of the River Thames, thousands are starting to gather to queue to pay their respects to the late monarch.
Also coming up, falling prices at the pumps leads to a surprise drop in the rate of inflation. And the Ukrainian president visits the recaptured city of Izium as his forces make further gains from the Russians. Hello, good afternoon. Live from Buckingham Palace, the London home of the Queen, that she will leave this afternoon for the final time. At 22 minutes past 2, the King will lead a procession as he, his 2 sons and other members of the royal family walk behind the gun carriage, carrying her coffin towards Westminster Hall, where Her Majesty will lie in state until her funeral. Already, a large queue is building in the capital, with people being warned that they could face a 30-hour wait to pay their respects. A short time ago, King Charles arrived at Buckingham Palace ahead of today's ceremonial procession. He was driven up the Mall, cheered on by the waiting crowds. While the new monarch waved to those lining the sides of the road before spending some final moments with his mother in private before she lies in state for the public to view. Well, that line in state opens to the public at 5 o'clock today. The coffin will be draped with the royal standard with the orb and sceptre placed on top. It'll be open 24 hours a day until 6:30 a.m. on Monday morning, and it will be guarded around the clock by a vigil of units from the Sovereign's bodyguard, the Household Division, or Yeoman Warders of the Tower of London. Updates on the length of the queue, estimated waiting time, and where the back of the queue is are on the government's social media channels. But long queues are expected and have been overnight, but no camping is allowed because the queue will keep moving. Bags must be small and each person will be given a wristband with no queuing for others allowed. People who join the main queue near Westminster Hall must wait in line for as long as it takes. There is a separate accessible queue, and people in that queue will be given timed entry slots. Guide dogs, hearing dogs and other official assistance dogs will be allowed to Westminster Hall, and British Sign Language interpreters will be available. More than 1,000 first aid volunteers, stewards and police officers will be on the route, and there will be toilets and water fountains. Cafes and other local businesses are also staying open for extended hours. And if you can't make it in person, pictures from inside Westminster Hall will be streamed online, and people can add personal messages to an online book of condolence. Well, our Royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills is here, and Rhiannon, just thinking about that Royal Book of Condolence, it is a real sign as how the monarchy has modernised, hasn't it, that there are no physical books of condolence with this monarch, no official royal ones. There have been some regional ones that have been done. It's all being done online.
And if you think the way that her death was announced as well, on their website, immediately the front of that website turned black, announced on their social media channels. And also last night, I think we saw what is now the country that the Queen has left behind, as everyone was holding their mobile phones in the air. Yes, some recording the moment that she returned to Buckingham Palace, so they could keep those videos to say that they were here, to say that they had paid their respects. But also I thought was particularly touching is some of them had their torches on, and it just felt like the most 21st century candlelit vigil. And the crowds there in front of the gates, just as they were just 3 months ago for her Platinum Jubilee. And yes, the weather reflected it, didn't it? A very dark and sombre time for some. But actually there were cheers from the crowds, and that appreciation, as we've seen so many times during those big milestone moments, of just what the Queen meant to this country and so many people around the world.
And we've had word from the Royal Palaces of how the procession will work, who will be in the procession.
So it's worth remembering that last night, yes, we were allowed to see the coffin being driven through the gates of Buckingham Palace for that final time. But then there was an important family moment where I'm told that there was this small family gathering, so the Queen's children, her grandchildren, their spouses, some of whom hadn't seen the coffin physically in person. So a really difficult time for them. But they did have that private time, and they will again be very heavily involved in the procession that we're going to see today. And it was confirmed late yesterday in terms of who's going to be in that procession. And of course, after difficulties within the royal family in recent years, there were questions about who may or may not be involved. However, likely to be in that first line, because it says in no particular order, so I think probably shoulder to shoulder we're likely to see the King, the Duke of York, Princess Anne and the Earl of Wessex. Then I suspect behind them you're going to see the Prince of Wales. Difficult to get used to that title, isn't it? The new Prince of Wales, Prince William, the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, also the other Queen's grandson, Peter Phillips, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, who is Princess Anne's husband, the Duke of Gloucester, so one of the Queen's cousins there, and also the Earl of Snowdon, who is Princess Margaret's son. And then in cars behind them, you're going to see the Queen Consort, the Princess of Wales, Kate, the Countess of Wessex, and also the Duchess of Sussex. When they arrive at Westminster Hall, of course, we will see the military again paying their own tribute to the Queen, their Commander-in-Chief for so many years, a role that's now been passed to the new King. Once they get inside, there'll be a short service that will last about 20 minutes, led by a man that they all know very well, the Archbishop of Canterbury, accompanied by the Dean of Westminster. And then afterwards, we're going to see members of the royal family. They will depart by car. And the whole process this afternoon, in essence, has been described to me as the Queen had three key roles. She was head of state, she was head of nation, she was head of the family. And today we will see the family, after they've paid their own private tributes, passing her to the nation and allowing all those crowds that we've seen gathering to pay their own respects.
And will that be it for the family until the funeral, or may they choose to return to Westminster Hall? I suppose they'd have every right to go back to Westminster Hall if they wish to at any point over the next few days.
Again, we're still waiting to find out when this may happen, but I anticipate that we are likely to see certainly the Queen's children again staging a vigil around the coffin, just as we did at St Giles Cathedral in Scotland. And what a moment that was to watch. Yes, they have all talked about how they've been so well prepared by the Queen and Prince Philip for this life of public service and duty. But that sense, as they all had their heads bowed, how much they appeared to be lost in their own thoughts. We're likely to see a similar moment happen at Westminster Hall. Whether or not the grandchildren will also decide that they want to stage their own vigil, we wait to see. But the message that has been so loud and clear, and actually it was a message that we saw around the death of Prince Philip, which happened, just a year and a half ago. Yes, we're used to this family having the stiff upper lip and keeping kind of their personal family relationships quite private, as I think we're probably seeing members of the royal family arriving now, probably gathering inside Buckingham Palace. But what we've seen is that they very publicly want to share just how much the Queen meant to them personally, talking about their mama, their granny, and this is a chance this afternoon for them in the most public way, and you can only anticipate how difficult it's going to be, that 38-minute walk from here at Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall. But they want to share this moment with the public. The King has said, yes, the state duties continue, those constitutional responsibilities are automatic. For him, his key role at the moment is leading his family, leading the nation in this hugely important moment of mourning.
Okay, Rhiannon, thanks so much. Well, for those who want to see the Queen lying in state and can't come down to London today, there is a very long wait ahead. Lots of people started waiting 2 days ago, and at the back, the queue continues to grow. The front of the queue is at the Palace of Westminster, and that is where there will be airport-style security before you're able to get into the hall itself. And from there, it will wind its way back through Victoria, Tower Gardens on the Embankment, and across Lambeth Bridge. Now, for those who require it, a separate accessible route is available. That will start at Tate Britain. Timed entry slots are issued there, and then goes back to Victoria, Tower Gardens. On the opposite side of the River Thames, it'll stretch along the South Bank, past the London Eye and Tate Modern, back to London Bridge. Well, the queue will reach its maximum permitted length at Southwark Park in Bermondsey. Officials estimate 350,000 people will be able to view the Queen's coffin in Westminster Hall, and yesterday thousands more lined the streets as she made the journey back to her London home. Well, right at the very front of that queue is Vanessa, who arrived on Monday at 11:30 in the morning.
By chance, I found out the queue is going to start here. Original plan was Wednesday morning, but then after finding out, I thought I'm not going to leave the position. I just wanted to be there, and the first person I learned. So it's a great feeling, but then when we go in there, it's a unique moment. We're going to be involved in sort of history.
Well, Sarah Jane Mee is down with people in the queue now, and for those there who've had a pretty cold and damp wait, there's certainly going to be movement today. The queue is being moved along, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Everybody here has now been told that in the next couple of hours they need to go and put their belongings, their chairs, their sleeping bags and all their big heavy bags into what's being described as a huge cloakroom, which is in Archbishop's Park just across the road, because they're going to start moving people across to the other side of the river within the next couple of hours. I'm at the point of the queue now where people start arriving this morning, and Ruth is proudly number what in the queue? 200 in the queue. What time did you get here this morning, Ruth?
We got here at 5:30. We all pretty much arrived together. We've not
met before, but we've been having a bit of a party actually. I mean, when I came down here this morning, I wasn't too sure what to expect, because last night when we saw the Queen go to Buckingham Palace for the final night, it was a very sombre affair, not helped by the weather, of course, but people were cheering the route, and I think there is this sense of, yes, people are in mourning, but they want to celebrate as well.
Yeah, and I think we've all got sort of the reasons that we're here, and we all feel sort of sad, but actually we're celebrating the fact that, you know, she lived to reign as sore for 96. It's amazing, and you know, we just want to say we were thrilled that she was our queen.
I'm just going to come down here. Hello. And as Ruth was saying, you've all met this morning here in the queue. Explain to me why it was so important to come down today to pay your respects.
I've spent all weekend crying since the news broke, feeling really overwhelmed. I think I've said it over and over again. I just feel really overwhelmed, almost like I've lost my nan or like a grandparent, because she's been such a constant in my life. Like, I know that sounds really weird, but I think everyone's different and how it feels really. But yeah, we travelled down from Liverpool at 12 this morning and made it here for about 5:30, and then met all these lovely people. So it's been fab really. We're trying to celebrate her life as much as mourn it, kind of thing. I think when we get in there it'll all be very different. We'll feel very like, oh, it'll hit us a bit again, but obviously right now it's just nice to talk and meet people and share why we're all here, I suppose. And bring me mum, yeah?
Yeah, because your mum said she'll never see it again, didn't they?
No, this is it. This is the only queen we'll see.
Because from now on it's kings, right? The succession is the queen.
It's a celebration today. It's a celebration of the Queen's life. So we're thinking about her, enjoying the day, and obviously it's going to be sad when we get over the road. But we've had some good times. We met some good friends.
Celebrate her life, aren't we?
Exactly.
We need to celebrate her life and a long reign.
Yeah, and we met some fabulous friends today that we've never met before, and it's a new family.
Yeah, we would never have met other than this, would we?
No,
So yeah,
not at all,
been
yeah.
lovely.
That's why over here, I mean, you've just been having a picnic. You've put away all your sandwiches and crisps for live television. But, you know, the Jubilee was only 3 months ago, and I've got a real sense of that kind of atmosphere here today, which is, as I said, it's such a strange juxtaposition. We're in a period of mourning, yet people are seeing this as a happy occasion, celebration.
She's been chatting, you know, we queue for coffee and everybody's having a chat. And how long have you been here? And where did you come from? So everybody's chatting to everybody else. It's lovely.
And everyone's telling lovely stories about when they saw the Queen or a memory they have and things like that. And it's just nice to hear everyone's personal reason for them being here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come to Jake, who's just behind us here in the queue as well. What number are you, Jake?
I am a bit higher than Ruth. I'm at 329.
329, and because the reason the numbers are mixed up is once you've got your wristband, you're in this area and you can come and go, and you can go for coffees, go for toilet breaks, because, you know, everybody's here for the long haul. And Jake, why was it so important for you to come here, and what does the Queen mean to you?
Well, it's a part of history, really. Like, we'll never have another queen in my lifetime and many other people's lifetimes. So I just wanted to come for the historical value and pay my respects to someone who, at the end of the day, is just a human, you know. People, be it if you're a royalist or not, at the end of the day, she was a 96-year-old woman who unfortunately passed away. So I just wanted to pay my respects.
Yeah, I've heard a phrase over the last few days, I'm not a royalist, but the Queen meant something to everybody because she has been so present in everyone's lives. So in that respect, would you have described yourself as a royalist, or is it just the fact that, as you said, the Queen's been with you, I'd imagine, I don't know how old you are, but your entire life?
Well, I'm 22, so definitely my entire life. So it's crazy. Like, I went the day after to Buckingham Palace with a friend, and it was just crazy, like singing the national anthem of God Save the King. It just felt so surreal. It was a weird moment, because it was like that shift from one era to the next, and just actually believing that we are at the end of the second Elizabethan era.
How do you feel about that as part of the next generation? You're that younger generation, and there's a lot to be said about the monarchy and what does it mean in this modern era? What does it mean to young people? Is it relevant?
I think it is relevant in some degree. I mean, there's arguments obviously for and against the monarchy, but at the end of the day, it's just a time for people to come together and, I mean, as everyone has said, be a family again as a country. It's bringing people together in a time where COVID took that away. But yeah, I think, yeah.
Like you said, there's a real sense of community and coming together down here. Everyone we've spoken to has made new friends, is here for one reason and one reason only, and that is to celebrate the life of the Queen. Jake, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. You're going to be here for another couple of hours, we understand, before you're moved across the water closer to Westminster. The queue is starting to grow. You can see behind me. I've been speaking to some of the volunteers here who are looking after the crowds and giving them instructions, and at the moment, from what they've told me, the queue stretches down to Westminster Bridge, which is that bridge you can see there. Beyond that is the London Eye. That's where the queue will grow. We are expecting thousands in the next few days, some 5 miles we're hearing of queues, but from what I've seen down here so far today, it's all been very organised. Everyone's in good spirits and being extremely patient.
And the sun is at least slightly shining. Sarah Jane, thanks so much. Well, to other news now. And the rate of inflation has eased slightly, meaning it is no longer in double digits. The fall in the price of fuel helped inflation ease to 9.9% in the 12 months to August. That's a fall from 10.1% in July. Our business presenter Ian King joins us live now from the city. And Ian, a slight fall, but families are still very, very much feeling the pinch.
Yes, that's right. I mean, this number was slightly lower than expected, 9.9% compared with city forecasts around 10.1%. It's actually the first drop in inflation that we've seen since September 2021. But to all intents and purposes, I don't think inflation of 9.9% is going to feel significantly different from inflation of 10.1%. There's a very specific reason why this number came in where it did, and that was the fact that petrol prices fell during the month of August, on average by 14.3 pence per litre. Year-on-year petrol price inflation now running at 32.1%, down from 43.7% in July. But there are other elements of the inflation basket that have been exerting upward pressure, and specifically the price of food, which during the month of August rose by some 13.1%, up from 12.7% in July. The price of milk, eggs and cheese in particular exerting upward pressure. We also saw an increase in clothing inflation as well. That came in at 7.6% during the month, up from 6.6% in July. That partly reflects seasonal factors, the fact that autumn ranges go on sale at higher prices than summer ranges, but nonetheless that exerted upward pressure as well. And I think what the Bank of England will be particularly concerned about is a measure known as core inflation. Now, this is the measure that strips out volatile elements of the inflation basket, such as energy, food and tobacco. Well, that came in at 6.3% during the month, up from 6.2% the previous month in July, and that is something that suggests that elements of inflation are becoming ingrained. It's not just externally generated inflation, such as energy prices, which of course you can blame on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. There are signs now that inflation is becoming domestically entrenched as well, and that is something that the Bank of England will be particularly worried about. If you look at other measures of inflation that we've heard about today, producer price inflation, that has a great bearing. That's the inflation that producers of goods and services are experiencing. That came in at 20.5% during the month, and that was actually slightly down from the 22.6% that we saw in July, but it is an indicator that there is still plenty of inflation in the system. And as I say, that is something that the Bank of England are going to be taking into account. It was due to be an interest rate decision tomorrow. It's been put forward until Thursday next week, but the market is fully expecting the bank to raise interest rates by at least 0.5% and maybe even 0.75%. That's what we're expecting from the US Federal Reserve next week. Their number came in very much higher than expected yesterday. It sparked a sell-off on Wall Street. You saw the biggest one-day falls on the US stock market yesterday since June 2020, and it's worth adding that we do not expect inflation in this country to peak until at least October, when we get the next increase in the energy price cap. What the government's mitigating measures announced last week will do to influence that, what bearing that will have on the inflation figure, is too difficult to say, but it can be said with some certainty that we do not expect inflation in this country to peak until at least October of this year.
Ian, thanks very much. Ukraine's president has visited the eastern city of Izium just days after it was recaptured by Ukrainian forces. President Zelensky has posted photos of himself there with Ukrainian troops. He wrote, "Our blue-yellow flag is already flying in the deoccupied Izium, and it will be so in every Ukrainian city and village. We are moving in one direction, forwards and towards victory." In his nightly address, President Zelensky called for life in the liberated areas to return to normal as soon as possible.
It is very important that together with our troops, with our flag, ordinary normal life comes to the de-occupied territory. As an example, in Balaklia, the payment of pensions for 5 months at once, for the time when we simply could not make payments due to the occupation, has already been started, and all Ukrainian pensioners in the liberated territory will receive payments. Ukraine always fulfills its social obligations to people.
Well, the Ukrainian military has also released video showing soldiers on top of a building in the northeastern Kharkiv region, replacing a Russian flag with a Ukrainian one. Russian strikes have knocked out power and water to much of the area. The attacks are described by Ukraine as acts of revenge. Well, our correspondent Diana Magne has the latest from Moscow.
Russia is going to have to retreat, regroup, retrench. It may mean that it gives up territory and that all it can do is defend the territory that it's still on rather than waging more offensive campaigns. But if it does that, if it does retrench and try and rebuild supply routes, then it will be a stronger position. And I don't see President Putin ending this anytime soon or withdrawing his troops, as the German Chancellor urged him to in a telephone call last night. But certainly Ukraine does seem to be on the advantage now, and the Russian forces along an overstretched front line, which clearly has weaknesses in it that the Ukrainians have identified, are going to be suffering from pretty poor morale, and I think that is the main problem that Russia is facing. The Kremlin has been pretty tight-lipped about the counter-offensive, but what has been very interesting here is to watch the kind of comments and criticism from not the liberal camp, but pro-war nationalist bloggers, especially on Telegram, and some military analysts who want Russia to be doing better, who are very angry that they're suffering the kind of setbacks that we're now seeing. We also heard from Ramzan Kadyrov, the Chechen leader who's got a lot of troops involved in Ukraine, that he was going to have to address what's actually happening on the ground with the Russian military leadership and with the leadership. We heard yesterday from the leader of the Communist Party saying that Russia should just turn around and call a war and declare full mobilization, and we've heard certain calls from various parties that Russia needs to do that. The Kremlin are understandably very hesitant about mobilizing the entire country. It would be politically extremely risky. It would show that this special military operation is not going according to plan. Yesterday they said that they would not consider full or even partial mobilization, and said that criticism of this offensive was treading a very thin line and was a dangerous thing to do.
Diana Magne there. Well, let's get some analysis of the situation on the ground. Security and defence analyst Professor Michael Clark is at Sky News Centre. Michael.
Yes, Jane, the offensive that the Ukrainians have conducted has been described by all the analysts as spectacular, and indeed it is. They've got hold of the whole of the Kharkiv region. The Russians have withdrawn. This will probably go down as the Battle of the Oskil River, because the Ukrainians were able to push the Russians up against the Oskil River around Kupiansk and then push them over the river in ways that the